houses start to shake. A man say look trouble.
I'm trying to pull him back down.
No,
That's wrong.
If at any time someone needs your help and you turn and walk away, in my book that is a serious offense. I don't care what you say, don't eat, drink and laugh with me and behind the shoo in me name. Don't call me your brother man when you know you only playing games.
If you see a man you know that was bad,
Real bad,
turning on your leaf, well you should feel glad.
so glad.
Encourage and help him to get along, instead of trying to pull him back down.
No,
That's wrong.
This is Caribbean Vibes.
On Dependency with Garth and Natasha.
Reality radio, at its best, where every life is a biography.
Sundays at 10 a.m. and exclusively on 95.5 FM.
And streamed live on the On Dependency Facebook page and YouTube channel.
Good morning and welcome to Dependency, heard across the nation on I-95.5 FM and streamed live worldwide on Facebook and YouTube. I'm Garth.
And I'm Natasha. Thank you so much for spending your Sunday morning with us. Today's episode is a very powerful one. It's not going to be easy listening, let me warn you about that, but it is necessary.
Our guest is Daniel, a young man who grew up without parents, spent time in prison, orphan home, and could have been lost to the system. But instead, he's here, speaking out and standing up for a generation of young men on the edge.
Today we will hear his story. We will hear what he learned from his experiences and why he believes, we hope, that change is possible and what needs to be done to bring about that change, even when...
Join us this Sunday, May 25th for episode 21 of Ion.
Welcome, folks. And Daniel, good morning to you.
Good morning, God. Good morning, Natasha.
Now, let me tell you how I found Daniel. Thank God for TikTok in this instance here. Yes. And going to TikTok, I saw him and I said, wait a minute, this is a young man that we need to delve into, because there are a lot of Daniels out there right now. There are a lot of parents out there creating a lot of Daniels. Daniel will take us through this morning how his life started, his experience after that, and the number of things that has happened to him, all before he reached the age of 18 years. Which brings to mind this fact that the human body is very strong, and a will to live is always possible if you have that strength and want to do better. Daniel, thank you very much for taking this opportunity.
It's a pleasure.
Your early childhood. You were born. We all have parents. We all should have parents, right? Because we're here. Tell us about yours.
All right. Well, morning again, Trinidad and Tobago and the I-95.5 family. First, I began on the 1st of August, 1998 is when my life started, and it was when my mom gave birth to me. Right, and after my mom gave birth to me, basically, I would say she abandoned me then. Right, after she gave birth to me, she left me there in the hospital, in an incubator, whatever you want to call it. She just left me right there and walked out of the hospital. I do not know how long I spent at the hospital, but after I left the hospital, I was transferred to an orphanage. Right, this orphanage is in Tagriquas, St. Mary's Children's Home. right? I would say basically I went there when I was some months old, because my first birthday was at the orphanage itself. All right, my first 1 year old was in this home. All right, so I was transferred to the home as a little boy, growing up, you know, not knowing my surroundings, not knowing what had transpired when I was given birth, not knowing anything, not even knowing the reason why I was sent to this home. You know, I was just growing up year after year, 5 years, 6 years, the years just go by, growing up in this home amongst children. And I would say to myself, when I reach the age around, let's say around 9, 10, is when I started to understand that, not really understand, but started to come to terms as to where I am and how it is I have so much as siblings, and all these little things was playing in my head. Who is my mom? Where is my mom? How much moms I have? How much dads I have? You know, because you're in a home with so much of children, so much of caregivers, and I was just confused as a little child.
So you thought they were your brothers and sisters?
Yeah.
So nobody explained to you where you were and the fact that...
Honestly, no.
No?
No. I honestly thought that all the rest of children was my brothers and sisters and the caregivers who was taking care of us, that they was my mom, father, aunt, uncle. Yeah, that's why I was watching it.
Okay.
I was never told anything as to why or what happened or whatever.
So in your mind, you had the biggest house in Trinidad?
Yeah, that was... And that way I was thinking like, yeah, I live in good.
Wow.
And when I reached the age around 10 is when a little check happened to me, and you know, we was in a kind of dormitory setting, I should say, at the home. So the younger boys will have a dormitory for themselves, the girls will have a dorm for themselves, the adult, you know, those settings like that. And I was amongst other little boys then, and a day one of the boys' parents came to visit him with his parents, his mom, his dad, and I was like, so if I see mother and father, then we're mine. So this is when my reality started to hit me then. I started to question the staff members now as to who is my mother, who is my father, when I get a visit and things like that. And, you know, and at that point in time, they had no answers. They told me that the center welfare and welfare officers would deal with that part and stuff. You know, so at that point in time when I was 10 years old is when the first question was asked as to where was my mom, where is my dad, what's going on. I could remember 10 years old was that first question. And I could remember everything, the welfare officer named everything. All right, and after that, it was school on the compound in St. Mary's. It's called St. Mary's Anglican School. It's a primary school. So while in the home now, I was attending the school there. All right, so I went to primary school there and completed primary school. After I completed primary school now, at about, let's say around 10, going to 11, while at the home now, a lot of people may say that abuse don't happen in the home or things of the sort or natures don't happen in the home. But I personally want to say I faced the good, the bad, the ugly, the indifference at the home I was staying in. Right? Yes, it had good times, it had bad times, but I faced a lot while I was there in terms of being abused physically, in terms of being almost, I should say, being abused sexually, in terms of ill treatment. I have faced it all. Right? And I have encounters where I had to jump out of a bus to save myself.
What was that about?
Well, at the orphanage, I was around 10 years going to 11, right? It was about 2 to 3 weeks before my birthday. I could remember that exactly, right? Because we was prepping for my birthday as the plan what it is doing for my birthday, right? And I was around 11 at evening, around 3 something in the evening. A particular staff member was a driver of the orphanage. I do not know if he's still working there. Right, he was a driver and, you know, driving the bus to carry wherever we had to go, clinic, school, whatever the case may be. And that day the bus was parked up by the pipe and he asked me to go and wash the bus. Well, I asked him to wash the bus, as I say. Right, and I done wash the outside of the bus, went inside to clean out of the inside. And while cleaning out of the inside of the bus, I was at the back of the bus, like close to the back of the bus, like about 2 seats to the back, on the ground, sweeping out. And the gentleman came in the bus, locked the door, and started to proceed to me and asked me to do this and that and that. I can't say it, but, you know.
To him?
Yeah. He asked me to do stuff to him then. You know, sexual stuff. And I was like, this is not real. This is not going to happen. I was so scared. I was so traumatized. I immediately pulled the back glass of the bus, jumped out of the bus, and ran to my dormitory, right, where I was housed then. I ran to the supervisor on the duty. I explained what happened. the supervisor, the female, she told me that she can't do anything, go to management. Bypasser went to the male staff member, the next dorm. He told me he can't do anything, go to management. So I was like, go to management. I said, all right, me take it on. That same evening, I was so not unable, but so unrest in my spirit then, as a young child, now facing what I encountered there. He didn't hesitate to ask anything. I shouldn't say that. He didn't hesitate to ask anything. He came raw. Could you do this? Could you do that to me? This, that. And I was like, nah. And I said that after the staff members told me I had to go to management and complain, it was not settling. I could not sleep that night. I stayed out of my dormitory that night. The staff was so upset with me. I stayed out of my dormitory that night. I didn't went inside. I couldn't rest at all.
Did you see him after that encounter?
Yes, he was like normal the next day. He came to work normal the next day. Like nothing never happened.
And nobody called you in with him to let you explain to them what you told them in front of him?
Nothing of the sort like
or
that.
Even take you. I mean, if the supervisor could not do anything per se or intervene in that circumstances, take you to the management to explain.
Or police.
Or police to
police.
explain what happened.
Tell us.
This is where it gets interesting, you know. So after this scenario happened, you know, I stayed out the night, right? And the next day, I went to the management myself, right, and tried to explain the situation in which their management, the welfare, not management itself, but the welfare department of the home, every problem or complaint as children, we supposed to go to them. Right, so I went to the welfare department and they told me that they couldn't do anything. So at that point in time, my head started to shake. I was like, then who could help me?
Daniel,
I tell myself,
hold on. You mean they couldn't do anything? Is it that they said, well, we don't believe what you're saying, this can't be true? Or what was that conversation like? Because I could imagine you as a 10, 11-year-old child telling adults about something like this that has happened to you. You have to be, as you mentioned, you're afraid and you're traumatized. Because this is not something that it's not normal, even to you as a child who has not experienced something like this. This is not normal. And to me, the approach of the adults or the managers of that home should have been to allay your fears that this is not going to happen to you. We are here to protect you. Tell us what happened and we will deal with it.
it was nothing of the sort as that. As I said, when I went to the welfare department, I explained what happened, and while explaining, I break down. I could remember I started to cry. I was shaking. One of the cleaners who was cleaning the department, she came and consoled me and told me, relax yourself, everything will be okay. And I would tell you all this, right, because it happened so long ago, right, and she told me not to say it, but this is the first time I'll say it. After the welfare department told me they can't do anything about it, the cleaner herself, she took me out of the building and she said, go to the police.
Right.
She told me that. She said, don't tell nobody. But she said, go to the police. Right? And that day, I sat down. I left at thanks and I walked up the road and I sat down in the savannah and I cried. I said, Daniel, this ain't going to work out. I went inside, the day passed, I went inside, night came, sleep. Well, I forced myself to sleep, and the next morning, that was it. I packed my bag and I ran away.
No.
Because I could not take it.
No, you were almost 11 then.
Yeah, I was going to 11 in about 3 weeks.
You just decided, you knew where you were going, you had a plan?
I had no plan, I had no mom, as I said, because I was in the orphanage, so I had no brother, no friend, nobody to go to. I just make up my mind.
You literally didn't know anybody outside of the confines of that home.
So, if you're just joining us, you're listening to Dependency, and we have started Daniel's journey. This is his life story he's telling here. And right away, I am at pains. And I hope you all out there are listening. I hope someone in authority is listening, because we've been hearing these stories for too long. A lot of people have gotten away with some ridiculous stuff in this country here against our children who are defenseless. And it's time we set an example. Whatever we have to do, but we have to send a strong message. No, Daniel.
Before you go, God, let me just ask, were you aware of any psychosocial support, what we call psychosocial support, counseling, therapy for young people at the home that you were aware of at that time?
Well, I'll be real honest with you all. At that point in time, it did have no counselors at the orphanage itself.
Yeah, because those times too, we won't work. That work.
But this would have been in the 2000s.
Yeah.
This is the new millennium. I mean,
but we didn't have children authority then yet.
I guess.
So we didn't reach that. Remember, that organization we visited in Canada,
Yes.
Children's Society or something like that.
Yes, Children's Aid Society.
Children's Aid Society. We did a report.
Yeah.
Remember, I handed it in, but nevertheless. So, Daniel, apart from you, were there other experiences, other things that you would have witnessed? Because I remember there was a former staff member, who came public, and she was tarred and feathered for it. Remember that?
Yeah.
Tell us.
Well, a lot of things has been transpired with the home. Remember in the beginning I said I was physically abused and almost being sexually abused. I would say
physically with a whip hand.
This is a serious thing, and I want to share this personally, right? If you watch my hands here, right, this was pins that I had in my hand when I was around 9 years old or going to 10 years old.
Pins?
Pins, as in surgery.
Wow.
Right. Well, while I was in the home at an evening, I remember this frank comment. I just want to share it because I don't want to call no names, but I just won't call no names, right? While I was in the home at evening, I was physically abused also. Right, that day we was playing football on the greens in front of the orphanage itself. Me and about 6 other boys. We was playing 3 aside. About 5:30, 6 a evening, right? Lockdown time in the home is around 7:30 to 8. Right, so we was playing football 6:30, 6:45. The male staff who was in seen about the junior dorm came in front and told us 5 minutes again. So we take the 5 minutes, we play the 5 minutes out. He came back after the 5 minutes and said, that is the time to go up the road. We abide by the rules. Do so, everybody pack up. We take the post, we lock it down on the lamp pole, and we was walking up to the back. Now, I had the ball in my hand, and little boys, I had the ball in my hand, everybody walking up, so I just kicking the ball, raising, walking up the road. You know the staff member then? The man walk up to me and hit me and slap, Bodo, you ain't here till you go up the road? I dropped the ball, and all the rest of youth men and them started to make a roar. And why hit the man? Why hit the boy? Why hit the boy? The boy never do nothing, this, that. So I started to cry. It's a hard slap. I tell him, it's a big like you and bigger. Yeah, right? It's a hard slap, I guess, right? A hard bellas, right? He telling me, don't kick the ball, go up in the dorm. So I say, I walking up the road, you don't need to hit me. So while I tell him that now, he get more upset with me and just started to beat me. I don't know what kind of licks I get, but I just started to feel blows. By the time he done beat me, I was on the ground with a broken hand. My hand was like a stairs. It went up and went forward.
Oh, Lord.
What?
Yeah. And this is how the incident flip and all, right? After he broke my hand, it had one deputy manager in the office at that point in time, right? He was the last person in the office. I'm talking about the deputy manager, right? It was a male staff. And after the staff member broke my hand, I run to the office to the deputy manager and knocking the glass to show him that a staff member now broke my hand. You know what the deputy manager said? To go to the supervisor, and the supervisor did it. So I had to leave the deputy manager, now telling him that a staff member broke my hand. He told me go to the supervisor in the back and report it to them. So he could not say about the situation one time then. And they hesitated to take me to the hospital. They didn't call no ambulance, they didn't call anything. They took about an hour and 15 minutes for the most before they left the home to transport me in the hospital with a broken hand as a child.
Was any report done on it?
I'll be honest with you, this is another incident that was just swept under the carpet. I'll be real honest.
Now, someone decided they're not going to deal with it any longer, and they went public with it. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Well, because we know it's Eastern all we speaking
right,
about. She worked there at the time.
She worked there at the
She was tarred and feathered for it. What prompted her to do that?
Right. She came to the home, I don't know what was her portfolio, but she came to the home to do social work then, welfare work to see about kids and stuff. And while she was dealing with the children like myself and others opened up to her then, because we realized she came to help us then. Because others came and they didn't do what she was doing. She started to question us as to what's going on in here, what's happening if you're being abused and stuff. And children were so comfortable that they opened up to her and started to share with her. I shared with her my incidents. Other children shared with her concerning abuse physically, you name it, sexually, showed her videos, clippings, footages. And when Miss Eastland, or his name, when she took it upon herself to deal with it, it was like that was a mistake she made. As Miss Eastland started to deal with situations, bring it to the public attention, head it on to the news, it was published and stuff. In about a day or two, not the organization, but the management fired Miss Eastland. And that was a breaker for us because we was looking up to her for help. We was looking up to her for assistance. And for them in authority to just push her away, then we say all hope is lost. Because she was somebody that was fighting for us, and she was somebody that saw personally the things that children was saying. Others may say it was lie, but she personally saw it with her own two eyes of the things that was transpiring there. And they just fired her because why? She brought it up in public domain for people to see, to people out, to make them aware.
Yeah, because she knew if she had kept it internally, it would have just been buried.
Yes.
Now,
yes.
And folks, we are preparing to go to a break, right? But while we're on this break, I want you to think carefully about what Daniel just said and understand the clique that we're dealing with here. In most of it, we're talking about home for the elderly and orphan homes. Can you just imagine people who are not happy with themselves would go to work in these institutions knowing that they can take out their frustration on children who no one looked out for? I want you all to think about that.
It's the perfect environment for somebody who is a predator to let loose. And that is why there should be, very stringent checks and balances in terms of who is allowed to work at these facilities. Because remember, these children are there because they have no parent or guardian.
And like Daniel, they were abandoned in some cases.
This is their world. They literally do not know anything outside of this home. This is their home, their school. Everything. I mean, all of the other children there are like their siblings, even though, you might... And all of the adults in there are like their parents and or guardians. So that kind of family environment is the ideal. That is what you think an orphanage is supposed to be like. But alongside that, unfortunately, in Trinidad and Tobago, and I'm sure we're not the only country that has this issue.
Are we comfortable with this, Trinidad and Tobago?
That take advantage of the vulnerability of these children. They're vulnerable as children to begin with. They're more vulnerable because of their status.
Are we comfortable with this, Trinidad and Tobago? Are we as a society that when we hear children run away from other homes too as well, we tend to, I look at the comments on social media, yes, it's man they want, and these children have no behavior.
Even if they're not running away from an orphanage, God, if they're running away from home, we just say that.
Right.
With a home with parents.
Are we comfortable with this as a society? This is what we want to be famous for, that the most vulnerable, because the wall's high. You know what I would do? And I'm giving a hint here before we go to this break. I am in this position overseeing these institutions. I would just show up unannounced. And I want to speak to the residents. That's how it's supposed to go. Or that's how it should go. I showing up unannounced because, when they get a call, hey, the Minister of Social Development coming here today, right? So let us they will paint everything white. Down to the dog and all, they will paint everything white. I was in the army, I know I'm telling you.
Yeah.
And Daniel?
No, that is true.
Yeah.
Every time, I can remember at a point in time, Glenn Ramadasim was the Minister of Social Development, and when he was coming, they transformed our home like if it was fully furbished. Yeah. Paint everything, the cupboards,
Yeah, and give him a red carpet welcome and take him to certain places.
And not showing him everything. Yeah.
Right, yes, that's how it goes. I understand it. Are we prepared to be satisfied with this, Trinidad and Tobago? Let me leave you with that thought.
Before we go to the break, I just want to ask Daniel one more question about the fellow residents, the other young people that you were there with. Are you aware of things that may have happened to them, and how have they been able to?
When they left for a while there.
While there?
Well, most of them could not cope with it, and they just ran away, and you never heard from them after a point in time. It's either they got locked up, it's either they're dead, or somebody kidnapped them.
Yeah. And they will just die and nobody will care.
Yeah.
And that's it. You know, it is wrong. And only do feel these things don't pile up in the sight of the master, you know. And a country could pay for this, you know. Unfortunately, the innocent will pay for the guilty. But God, let's go to a break. We'll be back with more of Daniel. Remember, some of these stories are, some of these what you'll hear triggering, but please pay attention. We'll be back.
Yes, girl. Online here with this weirdo named Larry. I'm getting rid of him now. Let's take a selfie. It looking good, boy. I putting it online.
Hey, I thought you say you went to the beach with your parents.
Who's you?
It's me, Larry, from online.
Hola, my name is Elena. Well, it's actually not my real name. You don't really care, do you? All you care about is once you pay your money to my boss that I look pretty, smell nice, smile for you, and let you have good time. Enjoying yourself and doing to me whatever you want to do for the money you paid. What you don't see or know is that I don't get any part of the money you paid. My boss takes all of it. I am forced to work, taking as many clients as my boss tells me to. I am beaten, made to take drugs, and I cannot leave this kind of work on my own. I am a victim of human trafficking. Please, por favor, help me.
Join us this Sunday, May 25th for episode 21 of Ion Dependency, where every life is a biography.
For all who wanna be bad boys, all who wanna be gangsters, in jail, if you're fighting with a man, two things could happen to you.
He was abandoned by his parents and grew up in an orphanage. He never saw the inside of a classroom. He was shot 3 times, stabbed, and left for dead. He survived a kidnapping and has been homeless. He was detained at the YTRC and at the maximum security prison, all before he turned 18.
My name is Daniel, and this is my story.
This Sunday on on Dependency, Garth and Natasha sit with Daniel, who is on a mission to keep young men out of prison. Listen live from 10 a.m. on I-95.5 FM or watch live on the on Dependency Facebook page or YouTube channel. The Counter-Trafficking Unit brings you on Dependency. We don't just share stories, we change lives.
Thank you for staying with us. This is Ion Dependency, and we are speaking with Daniel, who had a very rough start to his life. He was abandoned at birth by his mother and was placed in an orphanage. And he's just shared some very disturbing details about some things that have happened to him during his time there.
I am so upset,
It's very upsetting, and I know that even for the persons who would have had similar experiences to you, it would be upsetting to them as well if they're listening. So, trigger warning in case this
something that we
story is upsetting.
Off the air, remember?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
At a point in time while I was at the home and all, the former minister, Mr. Glenn Ramadar Singh was his name, or is his name? He was the Minister for Social Development at the point in time when I was at the home, right? And I don't know what was the organization, but he came, was to visit, right? And they prepped the home, as I said, they paint the culverts, everything, right? And down to the water hydrant and all the slash and white paint at the bottom. Yeah. And
Papi show.
when he was coming now, it had about 10 of us, well, nine other young men, included myself, make it 10, right?
And is you all had to do the fatigue, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
We was the ones who had to paint all the culvert and stuff and, prep the home. So when we know somebody was important was coming. So after we did all the work now, the staff member who was working, the female, she told us the president is coming and everybody have to be inside. There were no children outside at that point in time. So we took it upon ourselves. We said, well, yeah, the president coming, the way how to organize. We went up to the back. It was 9 others and myself make it 10. Just 10 of us, they specifically locked us in a dormitory by ourselves. So we was like, how to lock we alone and now with the rest of our dormitory then, with the rest of fellas then. So we was like, nah, this is strange. So we stayed in our dorms for the whole day, I should say half day, not knowing that they locked us away, knowing that we were the ones to tell the minister what was going on in the home, about the abuse, about everything, the physical abuse, the sexual abuse, the ill treatments. We was the one to tell the minister, and not knowing they locked us away to hide us from the minister himself. So we was not himself given an opportunity to see him, and the management at the point in time told us that the president was coming. So that alone should say much by itself, because they hide us away, not wanting us to share with the minister.
So you had planned to tell the minister?
We had, not me alone, 9 of us, including myself, make it 10. We had plans. I would say we had plans to expose and to tell the minister everything, because as I said, we had phones at the point in time. So we had photos, we had videos of staff beating children, of staff sexually assaulting children, touching good. We had it for the minister. And the staff members, they know that we have it, but they just couldn't get our phones. Right. Because we used to hide the phone, we used to hide it all on the roof, all in mattress. It was looking for it. So we had it, and they know that we was going to do that. So they locked 9 of us, including myself, make it 10, they locked us away and hide us from the minister that day. It's after the minister left, then we heard it was the Minister of Social Development came.
Okay, I'm not surprised, right?
And who were the children that were allowed to meet and greet the minister?
All the rest children who didn't know was not going to say anything, was transpiring at the home.
Right.
Just smile and wave and
and do a jomology
and
a dance and play a pan and sing and tell the minister thank you very much.
No, but my question is, right?
Jesus Lord.
My question this morning is, these conversations we heard it so many times before. This is like nothing new under the sun.
No.
So what I am asking is, those in authority, what more do you all need from children and by extension the rest of the nation in order to immediately activate?
And send a strong message.
Because as Mr. God said earlier on, these homes are receiving funding from ministries.
Yeah.
So therefore, I am entitled to mind my business because you are using out of the nation's purse.
Thank you.
So are we going to continue just having interviews of this magnitude, and then tomorrow is Monday, the start of a new week, and nobody is going to feel the brunt of what they need to feel? This is my question.
Because there may be children right now who are suffering the same way that he did.
His story is how many, the story of how many other children.
And they, while you're saying this, people or persons on the whole will not know the effect and the magnitude of disruption or destruction, I should say, that the past will have on you still as an adult.
Absolutely.
Right. Because I will honestly say I just be facing my mental disruption when, not every day, but when the day come. Right? Because of my past, what I've been through, especially at the home, that still affect me. I'll be honest with you. I'm not saying it does still affect me.
And then we would look at...
That's expected.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, because and then we would look at children coming out on the street now, and the end result is they get shot by the police or they get stabbed, and then we will say, another good boy gone. But we never know that he was a Daniel.
Correct. Well, let's go to that then.
Yes.
When you decided to run away.
Yeah, this is when
Where
the
did you
story
go
came
and-
from bad to
yeah.
worse.
Yeah. Now, before you go to that, did you, because I'm listening, I'm thinking the person listening to this radio this morning and on the internet, and I want to just find out, did you go back to the hospital to even ask a nurse or somebody, you know who my mother is? Somebody dropped me here. Did you do that?
Yeah, I went back when I came out of ITC.
Okay, so we'll get to that. So you ran away.
Mm-hmm.
Where did you go?
Right, well, the reason, as I said, because I ran away was the first attempted sexual assault on myself, right? That is what transpired me to run away. And when I ran away personally, but y'all, I had nowhere to go. I didn't organize with nobody. I had no friend, no family, nobody to go to. So I just took it upon myself, pack a bag, and run away for my safety then, right? The first thing that I did when I ran away was to try and look for somewhere to stay, and the only thing was clicking at that point in time was Ediad Savannah in the pavilion. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's close by.
Yeah, that is right over the bus route at
Yes.
12 years old. Ediad Savannah, with my bag, nobody to go to, with a phone in my hand, no money. My life flipped from there then. Right? Started to stay out there. I was like a predator in the wilderness. This is when I got kidnapped. This is when I got shot.
So
This
nobody
is when I
came
got
to you?
stabbed.
Nobody came to look for you
No.
from the home?
They didn't. I wouldn't say anybody was looking because I was walking up and down the road until the fateful day.
During that time, what happened? What are some of the things that you would have experienced sleeping in that savannah?
Right, well, I'd experienced the good, the bad, not the good, the bad, the ugly, and the indifference. That no good out there. Right,
Yes, tell us about the sick people you would have met.
Just staying out in the savannah alone at a young age, I encounter a lot. Right, just to survive alone, remember, I'm not working and not doing nothing. So just to survive alone, to eat when the day come, to drink when the day come was a task. I personally used to go by food vendors and ask them for a little hustle, you know, to clean the stall, to run for a bag of ice, and that is how I used to, yeah. That is how I used to make my income when I run away from the home. I'm being honest with y'all. Right? That was the only thing.
And nobody asked you a question.
Nobody.
What you doing out here, little boy?
No.
They just used you too.
Yeah. Right?
Go
I
ahead.
just went with it because that was my only option. Right? I started to get little runs and little errands and stuff, and that's when I used to make my little change, buy things to eat and stuff during the day. Right? And every night was like a night of, how to say? Every night out in the savannah was like a night in hell then. I would say that to say this because I could not sleep properly. One, I always had to be watching to defend myself. The first scenario started where a guy came to rob me. I had a phone, a little chipped Motorola Me Too, something like that. Right, I had a phone, and at night I was sitting down on the stand and playing a game on my phone, and I see a guy approaching the stand. I didn't say nothing, I just take the phone and chuck it under my leg, yes, so. And I sit down and I'm watching him, I see him approaching, he started to come up the stairs. Now when I see him coming towards me now, I have no knife, nothing, right? And he's a little boy, so I don't know what it is he coming towards me for. So I sit down and I watching him. He started to approach me, I say good night, he say good night. He come and sit down right next to me. Me ain't say nothing. When he sit down now, I just pull away, right? Pull away from him. And when I pull away from him now, I see his hand come on my pants here now. Well, this is when I go in a different zone here now. I take my phone, I put it in my pocket, and I get up one time. I say, brethren, but me say brethren, I say, boss, you can't touch me so, you know, what is that? Yeah, what you mean I can't touch you so? What you do now? I said, none of your business, you cannot be touching me so. I tried to walk away from him. Same time when I tried to walk away from him, he raffed my pants. When he raffed my pants to pull me back to sit down, that was it. I said, nah, this ain't going to happen. By the time I go to run to take off, he started to hold me down. Yes, I had to fight and squabble with him. We started to fight. While we started to fight, I don't know what was this guy's intentions. He bodily lift me up from off the ground and was walking down the stairs with me. As a little boy, I can't fight him back. So this is when I say, nah, I go into the extreme panic mode. I go and I start to fumble with him, just kick out, push out. Something just tell me, Daniel, bite this man's hand. When I do so and I bite his hand, that was it, he let me go and he had a knife on him. He pulled out the knife and he just stabbed me 2 times.
Oh.
Yeah.
Stab you?
Just so.
In your stomach?
In my stomach.
Oh my
I
God.
don't say one where my inside came out.
Your what?
Where my inside came out.
So you were actually holding your bowels?
Yeah, I had to hold it like this, yeah.
And what did you do?
Well, I didn't do nothing. I just was on the ground there, and the last thing I could remember is I wake up in Mount Hope Hospital.
So somebody saw and...
Yeah, and took me to the hospital.
God bless that person, whoever it is. You
I
never know who it was?
Mm-mm. All I could remember is that the last thing I could remember, and the police are not... This is when the story gets interesting, but all I could remember is that I was holding here, and I was on the ground, and the last thing I could see was the sky. Yeah, the sky up in my face, and that was it. I wake up in the hospital.
How long did it stay?
When I went to the hospital, I spent about 2 weeks. I'll be honest with you, while I was in the hospital, the police came, because remember, as a child, they know what has happened. Yeah. So I'll be honest with you, the police came, they tried to question me, and I blatantly lied to them and told them a different name, because I didn't want it. I've been honest with you all, I didn't want it to go back in that home, because I know how that face. So I told them a different name. I told them my mother coming for me. I told them but I don't want to hear them. Right. I told them my mother coming for me. She know I hear. I told them a different name. I didn't tell them nothing. I lied to them blatantly. Right? So they ended up leaving me in the hospital there. Right? And the day I was to get discharged, the nurses tried to call a number that I know they was not going to get through. I give them my phone number, and I take off my phone. I use my head a little bit. Right, so I take off my phone and I give them my phone number to call, which I try to call the number and I tell them my mom may be taking long or she may be downstairs or she phone off or something like that. Yeah. So they tell me to go downstairs and see. Right, and when they told me that, I used the opportunity to go and I leave the hospital. I discharged myself, I should say. Now come out after 2 weeks with stitches.
How many stitches are this about?
I got a lot of them. The doctors, but the papers, but they say it was 10 by 7 or something. So I don't know if it was 10 inside and 7 outside.
Right.
But it was 10 by 7.
Did the police ask anything about the the person who attacked you?
Yeah, they asked about the person to describe them, and they said they was going to investigate it. And I just didn't waste my time. I'll be honest with you, I just didn't waste my time to go through that with them. Because they said they was going to pull back footage and stuff. So I just didn't waste my time.
Now, here was amazing me, right? You all know where Eddie Hat's Savannah is. Those of you who live in that area.
Yeah.
The home is literally
across the road.
Away from there, right?
You are in my brain right now.
Not one person from this. Let me just check across by Eddie Hat.
Because
you've been there so long,
you would know
that there are points in that vicinity.
Yes. Correct.
That if something happens,
correct.
I am automatic. Look at my pause. That I am automatically checking that area.
Of course.
Eddie Hart is walking distance.
Yeah.
I would have started by the church. After I finished by the church, I go in the first, the Savannah that's
right.
Yes.
Right. When I finish there, I doing Eddie Hart.
Correct.
That would have been my 3 points.
So you
immediately
saw
after they recognized that he was gone.
Wow, they were caring there, boy.
No one.
Wow.
When I left the hospital, I discharged myself, as I said, when the nurse told me to go and see if my mom was downstairs, which no mom, I just waited on a ghost.
The question is that legal? Is a minor able to discharge themselves from a hospital?
They allowed him to do it.
Cool.
No, but he did it.
I did it.
Cool.
When I walked downstairs, I jump in a maxi, no money, right? So I jump in a maxi by faith. Before I jump in the maxi, I tell the driver, I say, driver, now get discharged from the hospital, I have no money. My mother waiting in Tagariqua for me. I lie again. I'll be honest with you all, I lie again just to move. Right? So when I jump in the maxi, I end up getting dropped back to Eddie Hart now. Because as I say, I have nowhere to go, nobody to go to. That was my only abode then. So I went back to Eddie Hart with a scenario just happened 3 or 4 weeks ago. Went back to Eddie Hart, heal up, start over again, looking for hustle again. A next scenario take place here now where sleeping at night, I was just bodily picked up and was being towed away. A guy this time, I was kidnapped.
Well,
and I say I was kidnapped.
Sick.
I wouldn't say I was attempted to be kidnapped, but I was kidnapped to the extent where 2 guys run up in the pavilion as a child. I sleeping. They just pick me up, 2 of them. One hand over my, I could remember this like yesterday. One hand over my mouth and 2 of them holding me. One on my foot, one on my upper arm here holding me. 2 of them gone. A car, white Tida, right, park up just at the bottom where the pipe was by Eddie Hart there. And they trying to stuff me in this trunk. Well, when I see they trying to stuff me, I started up a resistance. I started to kick back and fight up just to try and run because they didn't time up yet.
Right.
When they realized like I'm fighting up, one of them tie a little piece of lacing or rope thing on my hand there. I ain't make no scene because how we tying it now, I just kind of push my hand to give me a little slap. And the tie up my foot and thing means say nothing like balling. Thing they put me in the trunk. When they put me in the steeder, now they close the trunk and they drive off. Well, I started to cry. I said, "Way, I couldn't tell them. Me know it's kidnapped, they kidnapped me. I don't know about the kidnapping thing at that point in time because remember, as a child. So I thought in a skill they're going and kill me because I thought the man that get locked up who come to rob me and these bad boys come to kill me because he get locked. All of this is why I think, and I've been honest with you. So when these fellas put me in this trunk and they went with me, I know the person who kidnapped me. After doing some investigation, I know the person that kidnapped me. I know his name. I don't want to call his name, but it's a well-known so-called drug kingpin in the Tagarikwa area. He's well-known, right? And this guy, I don't know what it was, but they kidnapped me. They carried me to this guy place, and I don't know what the intentions was or what they was going to do, but they took me out of the car and had me sitting down in the back of the man house, the drug man house. And while I was sitting down in the back, look, I was saying this, my pauses. While I was sitting down in the back of the house, I hear the fella saying, hurry up and bring the van, hurry up and bring the van. We have a youth here, we have a youth here. So there's me in my head now. Hearing this, I started to shake. I started to think how it is I coming off of these shackles that holding me down. So while I sitting down on the ground, I took my hand, this hand was bound, I took it and I put it under my foot. And I sitting down on the concrete like this. And there's what so much of TV that I try a trick and it worked. I started to rub my hand on the concrete. And I realized like I getting slack on my hand. So that rope bust in the back of my hand, saying nothing. I sit down, they chippity. And tie my rope on my foot. And I sit down, they keeping my hands at the back. They kill them there that I still tie down. And I wait. And when I hear that the van in front, something just tell me, Daniel, get up and run. I'm telling you, I get up and I run. By the time I get up and I run, not knowing the man had a firearm on him. So when I get up and I try to leap over this wall, the first thing that I was greeted with when I tried to leap over this wall was a gunshot. Bow to my left abdomen.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, when I get the first one, I didn't feel it. I shouldn't say I didn't feel it. I didn't know I get shot because I panic and I running. So I hear the explosion, but I didn't know it was shoot. I just get shoot, right? So I jump the wall. As I reach over the wall, the first one, bow, drop down on the other side. Try to run. Running. I hear bow. Pick up two more. I say, nah.
Where?
In my front. I don't know how it is I get them two more. Listen to this. I don't know how it is I get them two more until I was running out of a track. When I run down to the track, not knowing that the man tells somebody to run out. And I felt I was running in towards me, and he see me run, and he just bust in front of me, directly in front of me. Same time I get them two shots at that side street on my right-hand side. I cut through that side street and run out on the main road and collapse directly in front of the gas station as you pass St. Mary's Anglican on the main road. As you pass the first Savannah, St. Mary's Anglican there, yeah, the gas station right on the right-hand side there, literally collapse right there. 3 gunshot wounds from a guy now tried to kidnap me for no good reason. Right there, the police...
we didn't know the reason, but there was a reason.
The police came and they took... Well, I could remember the last thing the police came, they took me and I was in the back of the police vehicle going down the bus route.
To the hospital?
To the hospital.
That he just came out from?
That, 4 gunshot injuries that they now had to do surgery and,
So, okay. So you're back in the same hospital. But nobody asks a question.
This
Let me dig deeper into this guy.
Yeah. This time was the opportunity to do that.
What happened?
This time is when the same time I went, but when I went back to the hospital was the same set of nurses that I had to face for the stabbing incident.
What was the time span between the first incident and the second one?
Weeks.
It was literally weeks, like 4 weeks a month.
It's weeks.
Right. 3 weeks, 4 weeks here.
So go ahead.
Yes, look. So when I went back there now, when I went back to the hospital, the nurses was like, "You again?
You see?
You again?" So this is when the head nurse took it upon herself and said, "Small man, something ain't right." She went and she called I believe it was the head doctor, somebody, it was a man. And he looked like he was the person in charge then. Right? He came with about 3 other nurses, 3 other doctors, I believe. And they started to question me, and the head man, told one of the, this is when they don't deal with me already, I just kind of fast forward because when I went to the hospital, I had to stitch me up and see about me before, right? So when the head man told one of the doctors to go and call a counselor or some psychiatric doc, somebody to talk to me then. I guess I can't remember who it was. Right? But they called a lady to talk to me, and the lady she just was talking to me, and I just started to open up with her. And I told her run away, and I lied to them the first time and this and that. And that is when she told the doctor to call the police. Aruka station, where I spent 7 days and was given a box of KFC on the 7th day, then transferred to the Arima Magistrate Court.
Oh my God.
There's a reason why I say the box of KFC.
Okay,
7 days.
You had confessed to running away from the home.
Mm-hmm. That he was being abused.
That he was being abused. That he had been in the hospital before for a stabbing. And still the police decided to detain you?
Yeah, they carried me to Aruka station where I had to stay 7 days.
And not feed him for 7 days.
But you're a child. How is that?
In a cell for 7 days with injuries in a cell for 7 days.
Oh my God.
And you went to bed hungry, woke up hungry. Well, not bed. I've seen bed like, you have a right to look at bed like that.
Bed,
yeah.
Cold concrete with injuries.
Wow.
As a child, that is my point. Cold concrete with injuries in a cell as a juvenile under the age of 18.
With nothing to eat for 6 days.
With nothing to eat, barely just one meal, and that was lunchtime.
And he just come off an injury of how many gunshots, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
it was just one meal, I wouldn't lie. It was just one meal that was lunchtime. They call it tanties or something like that, where they come and feed the prisoners. They used to give me that. No breakfast, no dinner.
So your wound could have gotten infected again.
No,
because
it got infected.
This is what I'm saying. Because that environment is a stink environment. I know it.
From the cell itself, they carried me to court after the 7th day, and that is when I reached the YTC because I ran away from the home. Right. And when I went to YTC, I was infected. I had to stay in the infirmary in YTC for a couple of times.
Yeah, because
of the infection of.
Yeah, but I'm still not understanding how the police can make a decision to detain you, arrest you, or whatever, when you are the one who was shot.
Natasha,
where's the evidence of a crime that he committed?
Here the part I want to understand. If after 12 and somebody in authority hears this, what is then going to be? Is anything going to happen after this interview is finished?
Like you were in my head this morning.
Because
you were in my head this morning.
Because you know how many children under the age of 18 is Daniel this morning.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the thing I need to tell the public this morning is that Daniel is sitting here and his spirit is so warm.
Yes.
He is well dressed. He's well spoken. He is very calm. And his spirit this morning is extremely warm. You're not getting an inch of bitterness coming from this young man.
You understand?
And I more vexed than I is not Daniel. And I feel you more vexed than me.
Telling me I want to pelto my glasses
and
right now.
I am not Daniel. Daniel is
because
so warm this morning.
So many holes in this, Daniel. Daniel,
boy.
The Almighty have you here for a reason.
Boy.
Because I am thinking you would have wound, and I know inside a police station cell how nasty it is. I don't know if it's deliberate that they have it like that, but I think we need to upgrade, and I'm glad Mr. Alexander is there now, that maybe he might see life from a different angle. Yes, and change it, because a police station cell not supposed to be a torture
No, because
device.
that is not going to fly, because Trinidadians and Tobagonians believe that once you commit a crime, nobody tell you to do no crime. Nobody is not a flicking Hyatt hotel.
Yeah, you have to get dog treatment.
Exactly.
Yeah,
you don't deserve that.
That's our mindset. I know. If you're just joining us, you're listening to Dependency, and we are speaking with Daniel, and we could barely contain ourselves. So now we're going to take a break. I'll drink some water. And when we return, we're going to hear now
the
time
YTC.
In YTC.
Yeah.
Going
and
to
what exactly they
security
charged
prison.
you for? Because I am still not understanding that part.
The charge is something that I'm still researching, and I'm not getting nothing for it.
Okay.
Let's go to that break.
Yeah.
We'll be back. Fix it, Jesus.
Slavery, a terrible time in our history. The kidnapping, buying and selling of people for profit, the exploitation of another human being. It still exists today. It has a new name: human trafficking. anyone can be a victim. There is forced labor, sexual exploitation, and domestic servitude. Human trafficking is a worldwide problem and an emerging concern for us here in Trinidad and Tobago. If you know of or suspect human trafficking activity, call the counter-trafficking hotline at 800-4CTU or 800-4288. Human trafficking is a crime. Identify it, report it, stop it. A message from the counter-trafficking unit of the Ministry of National Security.
Ah boy. Feel like going and buy myself a senorita tonight.
Nah. You know you might be promoting slavery.
Slavery? Mm-hmm. What you talking about?
Hey, modern day slavery or human trafficking is just what some of these people just do. You know some of these women were tricked to come here? Some are held against their will, abused, and even beaten. Most times the girls don't even see any of the money that is paid for them. And every night, they just have to come out looking nice and sexy for somebody like you. Human trafficking is a serious problem and a serious crime. Persons who solicit commercial sex services may be contributing to human trafficking. A message from the Counter-Trafficking Unit of the Ministry of National Security.
Do you want to support our work at Eye on Dependency? Here are 3 ways to do so. You can make a donation to the Eye on Dependency account at Republic Bank. You can follow the Eye on Dependency page on Facebook. You can subscribe to the Eye on Dependency channel on YouTube. Liking, commenting, and sharing live on a Sunday also helps. Thanks in advance for your support.
Thank you for staying with us. This is Eye on Dependency, and today's program is really upsetting. I mean, that's the best word to use.
We have been doing Independency for the past 24 years. Mm-hmm. And every time I hear a story, I feel, well, okay, that story, we wouldn't get worse than this. But this is a rabbit hole we're going down here. Right. And we continue to meet people who are survivors, real survivors. Yeah. Daniel is a survivor. And so Daniel, you were taken to Whitey. So what the question is, how you got shot, who shot you, how did that go?
When the police had me, they started to question me as to who shot me, what transpired, and I basically told them everything. I told them I was sleeping in the savannah, run away from the home because of being abused and stuff. They asked me who abused me, what was the person's name, to go down in details of the abuse section. Mm-hmm. And after that, I told them that was the reason why I run away from the home and stay in the savannah. The first time I was stabbed and thing, they carried me to hospital and I lied to the damn nurses. This is why I telling the police, I lied to the nurses and stuff. Right, and then they asked me about the shooting stuff, who shot me, how it happened. I told them one night I was sleeping and I was bodily picked up by 2 guys, not knowing who they were. They tied me up, threw me in a trunk, and carried me to an unknown location. And on hearing them planning us to bring a van and this and that, I told the police I literally was uncutting myself and untying my foot and jump a wall. And as soon as I reached the top of the wall, that is when I felt the first, that is when I heard a loud explosion. And when I reached down, running over the track, that is when I realized that I got shot from a guy in front of me, which hit me the 2 shots in front of me. And the fellow who hit me the one inside is when I was going over the wall. And I told the police those things and they said they will investigate it. Up to this day, I haven't heard anything. They know who it is because I told them who it is. I carried them to the house after I was out of the hospital. Within these 7 days while in the station, they carried me. Well, they asked me if I know which part it was. And I told them, yes, I know because I live in Tagriqua. I know the home. I used to be all in the back there. Right, so I carried them to the house and this is the sad reality. When I showed them the house of where it is I was, the police officer said, all right, let me go back to the station. And from then to now, the fella's still out there, the organization still running, and nothing was done about it at the point in time then.
So, right, so, there we go again. You're on your way to YTC now. Why did that happen?
Right, well, because of the reason I went to YTC, as I said, because I run away, right? And When I went to YTC, the charge, I should say, that was laid on me is beyond control. I do not know what is that, but they said I was beyond control. That was the name of the charge.
That's a charge?
Beyond control.
Yeah. That is a charge that people use to basically
To get a child
contain
before the court.
people who are children who are beyond
So
control.
they're just getting a charge.
Yeah.
In other words.
In essence, children who are cannot be controlled by.
Right. The magistrate questioned me, they asked me what happened, what transpired, what. I told the magistrate that I was being abused or whatever the case may be. Then she asked the court to be cleared. I can remember that. Everybody was out of the court except for me and the police officers and the magistrate. I told the magistrate everything, what I've been abused at the home physically, almost being sexually abused, and what made me to run away and stuff. And the magistrate was like, we have nowhere to send you other than YTC because you have no mother, you have no father, you have no parents that they could call to send you with them then. So the only thing that they had wisely, that they thought was wisely, is sending me to YTC.
In a jail?
In a prison for juveniles, I should say then, because it is, to me, YTC is a young prison for juvenile offenders. I would say that
That's what it
personally.
is. It's a detention center for juveniles.
They renamed it now, Youth Training and Rehabilitation Center. And we need to recognize this because now they've taken a different approach. Yeah, it's a who commissioner now. And well, before that has changed.
Who doing crime, I should say then. Right? Who got locked up for snatching, who got locked up for stealing, who got locked up for fighting in school. Some get locked up for attempted murder, some get locked up for assault. And only if you're given trouble, they will send you to something. And only if you're given trouble, they will send you to something called a cell block. That is where the cell section is now. So while staying in this dormitory setting, the numbers there was huge. I could remember it was like 30, 31 of us in a dormitory setting. I'm not going to lie.
Far cry from St. Mary's.
Way far. Because trust me, the bunk, bed, ground.
Yes.
Bed, going on a bed, and next man on a ground. Man on a bed, and next man. That's how the settings was. It was cramped. Right? And started to stay in the dormitory setting for about 5 days. My first day there, I could not sleep. Whole night is yap, fight, smoke. Because of my injuries.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
I was given a bed by an officer. But the first day, it was like, I could not. It was just like a new environment.
Yeah.
Remember, I'm not a smoker, so I smelling marijuana. I seen people fighting. I seen people drinking some kind of thing they calling wine. So I seen all kind of crazy stuff that I trying to come to terms, So the first night was very tough. I didn't sleep. Second day, go through the second day. Third day, go through the third day. About the fourth or fifth day is when I started to feel real sick. I started to vomit, started to cold sweat, started to get chills, started to shake. I feel like if I was going to die. So, right, and I bring it to the officer's attention, and they carry me to the medical personnel infirmary because of the injuries where I went in and started to get infected. Right, I spent about 3 weeks in the infirmary department in YTC. And after the infirmary department, while I was at the infirmary department, I healed good. I healed up, started to get scabs, I healed up good. So they transferred me back to the dormitory setting here now. And when I went back to the dormitory setting now, the same day that I went back to the dormitory setting, I sat down. I went in the bathroom and I can remember this. I sat down in a bucket under the shower and I started to rub my hands like this and I just started to cry as to what it is I'm going to do with my life within these 3 years in YTC. Because mind you, the magistrate sentenced me to 3 years at YTC.
Mr. Carter, I don't understand that. Somebody had to clarify that for me.
I'm looking up at the law right now. It's from 2016, and that would have been before.
Before 2016.
Before he was.
I was sentenced to 3 years in YTC, and I sat down in the bathroom one day, and I was like, what it is I'm going to do with my life within these 3 years. Right, and from that day, the next day, I'll be honest with you all, I started to make moves. I started to reach out to officers. I started to question officers as to what programs or whatever I have in YTC. Right, but before I reach here, my stay at YTC, I would say, is the good, bad, the ugly, and the indifference. Want to say the food at that point in time, that was pressure. I would say pressure. It was real pressure. Right, I don't know if I could Go ahead, I could go ahead.
Go ahead.
Right, the food there was real pressure. People will say it's nice, but it was not nice. The food, it was just not consumable. That's the best I would, yeah, it was not good. Alright? Just being locked away in a dormitory setting 23 hours a day, remember a day is divided with 24 hours a day. You're locked away 23 hours a day in a cell.
Yeah.
That alone started to take a toll on me, right? I have nobody to visit me, no mother, no father, no brother, no aunt, nobody. So I alone was just making my time, my 3 years there, with no toiletries, no clothes, no boxers, no underwear, no vest, nothing, no shoe, no slipper. It was just what I went in with for these 3 years. So my mental, I'll be honest with you, I started to have like a mental breakdown per se. In other words, where I just started to cry, I was not eating. I was just not being myself for a couple of weeks.
Of course.
Yeah. I was not eating. They had to beg me to eat. They had to call people to talk to me to eat, to drink water. I was just starving myself because I say to myself, Daniel, you're not going to make this 3 years. I'm telling you all, I give up hope. Within my first 3 months in YTC, I lost hope. Just wearing the brown uniform and the white uniform with that number, that 531, that was my number, 531. And just wearing that uniform and just staying there, it started to take a toll on my all, and it started to kind of affect me in a way per se that, you know, I thought that was it. I thought I was never going to come out of YTC. I thought that all hope has lost. Like I say, I don't feel like I want to cry.
Yeah, boy.
But I just thought that was it. And it's just the inner strength in me told me, Daniel, you had to stay strong. You had to come out of this place because you ain't going to die in this place. That was just the inner strength in me that tell me that. Right, and after my 4th month in YTC, the 4th month in YTC is when I reached out to the officers and them. It had a superintendent, name is Canterbury.
Elvin, yes.
I ended up having a one-on-one with him and tell him all what I've been through. And you know, I really want to make it. And I really want to come out of YTC with my head on my shoulder then. Just so I tell him. And he said, Daniel, you're the first young man that ever tell him something like this to this magnitude. And he said that, Daniel, I'm willing to work with you. And from that day, I will not lie, I'll say it publicly, from that day, Mr. Canterbury was the person who seek my welfare and my well-being while I was at YTC. Mr. Canterbury was the one who seek my welfare and well-being. He took me up as one of his children at YTC. Started to do that, and in 2017, represent Trinidad in the 15th National Youth Parliament. And this is when Mr. Canterbury said to himself that he have somebody he could give a shot to it. And that's when I was given the opportunity to represent Trinidad in the 15th National Youth Parliament. And I represent Trinidad in the 15th National Youth Parliament in 2017 going into 18. It was for like about some weeks into one day of the parliament sitting. And I was the member for Library and the Minister for Energy and Energy Industry. Right, and while given the opportunity to represent Trinidad, I went to the parliament. I did my best, give it my full, give it my all. After the parliament session, I was granted one of the outstanding speakers. I was given one of the outstanding speakers award. And I completed the parliament course. And after that, another opportunity came my way from Mr. Canterbury while I was in YTC, where I was given an opportunity to run an international marathon. First time I'm going to run a marathon, so we started to do training in YTC and stuff, right? And the marathon was from St. Mary's Junction in Freeport to the Whitehall around by the Savannah. Now, mind you, this was the first time I'm going to run a marathon, so I well trained, you know, and I just went out, die hard on this marathon. I see all the past hurt and whatever I've been through, I'm going to run it out. And that was the mindset that I went out to run a marathon. And first time I went and run an international marathon, I came 4th in the country. First time. After I run the marathon, I came 4th. You understand? When I went back to YTC, I was greeted with Mr. Canterbury, with all the officers. They award me, they give me stuff, they cheer me up, and I was given a surprise visit from the former president, Mr. Anthony Carmona. Yeah, I was given a surprise visit due to coming fourth overall. He heard the story first time. You know, a young man running a marathon due to my background history. I don't know who shared it with him, but he came and he visited me while I was at the orphanage. Yeah, me at the orphanage at YTC. You know, and really inspired me to push on, to continue doing what I'm doing. And he self told me that, hey, you have a calling. Do not disappoint, man. From then, I take that word serious and I say, Daniel, you see, when you leave YTC, you had to do something to keep youths out of YTC because you know what they have been through with all the past hurts and trials that they had. You know what they have been through. And I took what Mr. Carmona told me, and I went back in my dormitory and I cried. The 28th of September is when my final day reached in YTC, when I got discharged.
And you tell us about you're going home, right?
Yeah.
What happened?
Well, it was just like another episode of Daniel being homeless again then. Because when I was about to leave YTC, remember, I have nobody to go to. I had nobody to come and pick me up. It's just me, I had to go and fend on my own when I leave YTC. That was reality. You know, but while I was staying in YTC, I built up is a certain amount of funding that it has given, something like that, and I ended up leaving YTC with a little bit of change, and I should say. About 9,000, close to 10,000 change. So on my day of leaving, I had nobody to go to, nowhere, don't know what is going to happen. So I left YTC the 28th of September, approximately 11:57 in the day. I can remember that time. And when I left YTC, I didn't know how to travel. I didn't even know how to stop a car. So I walked from YTC straight out to the main road. The most I could remember was the main road. And when I reached out the main road, I saw a maxi. First time I go in the maxi. I just poured my hand and I see the maxi stop. I had $100. Now I don't know where is the fare. So I give the man him $100 and the maxi man give me back some change. First place I could stop was Tagariqua, Etihad Savannah. That is my only thinking spot.
Home.
Yeah.
So I went back there. Right, I went and hide my bag with I came out of YTC with. I have all this money in my possession, no bank account, nothing. So I tell myself I'm not going back in the pavilion.
So wait, hold on, Daniel. When you were released from YTC, were you 18 years old?
Yeah, I was 18. No, I was over 18. Yeah.
Did they not prepare you for this day?
I would say no.
So they just felt, I suppose, if you have money in your pocket, you'll figure it out?
Welfare officers, they called me in many times to talk to me and, you know, try and organize something, and there was nothing. Because knowing that I have no mom, no father, nobody to go to, I wouldn't lie, they talk about sending me to some place called some rebirth house and some other hostels or something like that.
Yeah.
And at that point in time, all of them was full to capacity.
Right.
So the only thing was optional was just discharging me because they could not keep me back no longer.
Understood. But, I mean, in terms of how you would survive, where you're going to live, first of all.
Right.
I mean, that should be the primary concern, given the fact that you came from an orphanage.
But when I left YTC, it's only one day I spent outside on the streets, I should say.
Right.
When I left, that was the first day I left YTC. The same day, I stayed out that night. The next day, I went to Digicel, I went and bought a phone, and I went and bought newspapers. Because I ended up speaking to somebody who was in YTC, a fella, and he told me he was looking at the back of the papers and he would see place to rent and stuff.
Right.
So that is when I took it upon myself to make my moves then.
Okay.
All right, I went and bought a phone. And I went to buy newspapers and started to look through the papers, and that's when I got a reasonable apartment to rent and started to rent from there. And started to rent. My first month out of YTC is when I started to look for a job. The job was, this job what I started off with, I would say is only God that make my job, that made me get a job. Because I left YTC, had no ID card, had no board paper, no resume, nothing, no documents stating that I am a citizen of Trinidad. Right, so I left YTC with no documents, and I had to make it happen. So I went to this job. It was a sanitation company doing cleaning, right? And I went to them. I explained to them and said, "Sir, I now came out of YTC. From YTC, I was in a home. I don't know my parents. I don't have no documents. I need a job."
God,
I just paid on for
hold on a second. God, shouldn't YTC be responsible for at least ensuring the child has a birth certificate, at least?
Because you're a ward of the state, right?
Correct. They can't just send you out there to the wilderness, basically to society, and make you fend for yourself. I mean, to me, that is basic. And all of the years that he spent at YTC, somebody couldn't organize to get him a birth certificate.
All I hear is Daniel in the lands then right now. Guys, I swear to God.
A lot of people.
All I am hearing is Daniel in the lands then.
If you're just joining us, you're listening to Dependency, and we are speaking with Daniel, who is telling us, I'm a real wussing.
But ironically, it would have been the persons that people at St. Mary's Home who would have given you that name, Daniel.
I believe so.
Yeah, because you have
Yeah,
no
you
birth
have no
certificate.
birth certificate.
So they gave you a name, Daniel, which is the right name for you.
Yeah.
Because you were in the Lions then. And you came out, and so from that, your life started to pick up from there?
Somewhat of. I had a lot going on still, but I made it through. I made it through. Because remember, this is the main point. Remember, when I left YTC, you see, having no support system in your life, having nobody to turn your back to when you're feeling down, having nobody to pick up your phone and say, hey, what's going on? I ain't feeling it today, you know.
Yeah.
That was one of my breakers in this life. Well, it was. Right now it's not, but it was one of my breakers.
Give thanks for that,
And I just thank God that I came out of all what I've been through, Mr. God. Trust me.
No, you were saying something to young people about prison. And that's what I saw on it. I want you to repeat that, because some young men feel now going to prison is a rank and a big thing, right? Explain this to us.
I just didn't say this part, but while I was in YTC, right, now, whoever was in YTC will know how YTC does function, right? Now, if you are a city doctor or dental or psychologist or psychiatric doctor, they didn't have that in YTC at that point in time then.
Right.
So all the clinic appointments, it was transferred to MSP, which is maximum security prison.
Right.
And y'all, just by going there for clinic appointments, I say to myself, this is not going to be me. The walls on them taller than a lamp pole. You know, Mr. God.
Yes.
Those walls taller than a lamp poles. The prison, just by going in there, I saw things that I myself want no young man to go in, because a lot of young men out there, they're doing crime and feeling that when they go in prison, they will have a phone, they will have weed, they will have cigarette. They don't know what these fellas doing for their weed and cigarette and their phone. They don't know how they get in those weed and cigarette. You don't get them thing by guess. And I want to say it again, you do not get them thing by guess. And what you're doing to get it from, Lord have mercy. The most I will tell the youths about it is just desist from doing crime, desist from robbing persons, desist from snatching chains, desist from just doing crime on the whole, because you see, when you sit down behind that four wall or that dormitory setting, you're inside 3 hours a day, the meals and them is like, I don't want to say it, but it's like rubbish on a plate you're going and eat. Sorry to say it like this. Just being real.
Not
right?
appetizing.
It is not consumable to eat. It's just a mental breakdown you're going to get. I don't know if it's right to say it, but sometimes I just feel like if the young men, like if they like men, so I don't want to say it, but I just had to say it.
Yeah.
Because you rather give up your freedom out here in the free world to go and sit down amongst men whole day.
Yeah.
That is just not right with me. Right? And you're sitting down amongst men whole day, you're sweating in yourself profusely. It's like buckets are dropped, you're smelling stink, you're smelling faces, you're smelling pee. It's just not right. And these young men just doing crime to go there and feeling that it's Hilton Hotel here going in. It is not right. And I just begging and urging them to stop by, because what I have experienced in YTC alone, I can imagine big jail. I toured Port of Spain prison and I could not make the tour. I vomit, I almost collapse. And I am a man. And I almost collapsed in that prison, tour in that prison with CCC at a point in time.
Right.
So if I can't face that, I don't know what it is with these fellas' head. It's like it's shaking. Because you know what upset me, and all I want to say this blatantly, you know what has upset me with these so-called bad boys, is that mostly females they rob. And why? Why? Because they're showing that they're not bad, they're showing that they are imps, they are cowards. Then because a bad boy will rob a bad man and take bad things.
Right.
You're gonna rob a woman who don't have nothing, who can't himself defend herself, who's helpless. How you feel within yourself robbing a female? How you feel within yourself running in a house and shooting a female or children? I personally, I don't know what else be going on with these fellas.
Bad boy should rob a bad man
And let
get
bad things happen.
I like that.
No, that is serious. And that is my mantra why I just keep, because I will always say to myself, the ones who just be doing all these crimes and robbing these innocent peoples, they are not bad until they end up in a facility like prison to see what is real toughness. Yeah.
Now, let's take a look at the prison officer now. There's a thing called domino effect, right? So the parent drop you, that's where it started, right? Mother just leave you in the hospital and go on. Now you want to tell us you went back to the hospital to find out who dropped you there?
Right, well, this is a really emotional thing, but I just take my time and say this part and explain this part. This is one of the touching parts of me, that to just show that the interest that I had in my parents and still have to knowing them, and I wish that if they're listening to this, they could contact me after the show.
Yes.
When I came out of YTC and I started to rent and I started to build my life, started to work sanitation and started to work and, pay my rent and stuff, a day I took it upon myself to take a day off from work, right? And the last thing I could remember was my mom gave birth to me in the Port of Spain maternity. So I take my day off from work and I went to Port of Spain maternity 4:30 on a Thursday morning. I went there early just to beat the lines, if it are lines or whatever the procedure is. So I went there early, I sat down until about 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock came, I see a nurse. I end up asking, what is the procedure to find out information? She told me to go to the information booth, which is downstairs. So I went downstairs, I sat down until about 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock reached, I saw the receptionist. I started to tell her about, my situation, and I'm trying to locate my mom. I'm trying to get some information as to who is my mom, what's her name, if Daniel is my real name, what is my mother's name, if they have any contact information, any address, anything of the sort like that. Right, and the nurse tell me, hold on, she coming back. The nurse, I've been honest with her, she took long, but it was worth it. Right, she took about an hour or two and then came back. What? Yeah, took very long, but it was worth it. I sat down there patiently. I thought she forgot me, but I waited out. When she came back, she told me she have my mom's name. She told me my mom's name. She told me my name Daniel is my real name. She told me my mom gave birth. Well, my mom gave me her name, and then she signed her discharge paper and she left. She didn't give a reason why she left the hospital.
Oh, okay.
But she said she signed her discharge paper and she left the hospital with no reason. Right, and then then after that, now she started to tell me that my mom addresses number so up in St. Anne's, and this is her phone number. Well, why she telling me all this? I writing it down because I am going there today. Yeah. So I write down everything. I take the number, everything, and I tell her thanks, I appreciate it and stuff. And walking out, I feel like a sense of hope, but I feel a sense of sadness the same way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I walk out of the hospital, before I could himself reach the front door, as I reach the front glass door, pull out my phone and I call her number one time. Voicemail. I say, nah, she may be on work. Or she may be realize this number, a strange number, she don't answer. I ain't paid no mind. I walking back downtown to go back which part I was renting, and something just tell me, Daniel, call this number again. Call the number again, no answer. I say, nah boy, I ain't going home. I had to go by this address. Do so, I'd gone downtown, ask a driver how it does reach St. Anne's. I pay $100 to hire a car because I don't know how I go in. Right. I just tell them I want to hire a car to go by this house. I give them the address, the street name. They drop me on the street, and when they drop me on the street, it's like a needle in a haystack I'm looking for, you know. Because I don't know what the house look like, I don't know what I'm looking for. It just have a number on a lamp pole. Right, the number was 139. So I walk in until I see 139. I see 139 on a lamp pole. But when I see 139 on a lamp pole and I turn so, I see a jungle. It's just a house with bush.
Oh, Lord.
So I say to myself, Daniel, is the wrong address. I walk down a little further to see if I see any more 139. I didn't see no more 139. So I walk back up, and let's say like if this is the house here, what the address was for my mom, it have a house here and the persons was living there still now. So I went and I speak to the persons and them, and they know my mom. The neighbors and them who was there, they know my mom. So speaking to the man thing, I tell them, well, I'm looking for this person who live in here. She name is whatever the case may be. I don't want to say it online, but yeah, she live in so. She live in here, and I don't know where she going, but I just want to get some information. And she tell me, well, yeah, since that person didn't make both a boy, she end up leaving because there's some domestic issue and thing. Well, this is when my head started to shake. When the lady talking that, I started to say, but who boy is she talking about give birth and do? Who boy is that? I wonder if it's me.
It's you.
It was me. So all in this is why I started to study. Well, I started to shake Mr. Gat. I was like, nah, this is not me she talking about. Well, I taken the information, and she said oh, she leave since some years ago, and she ain't come back since, and whatever the case maybe she never number for the person, however. I said, all right, thanks for the information. Well, just that what she told me, just give me like a little hint as to what has transpired for my mom to leave me in the hospital. And right, it was just a domestic thing with family. I don't know what transpired, but that is what the neighbor told me then. And I left there with my head down. I cried walking out on that street. I walked from St. Anne straight to Queen's Park, Savannah.
She may have been a teenager herself. And
yeah, my mom, I would say, because I didn't say her name, but my mom was around 18, 19 years when she gave birth to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, and I walked from St. Anne's to Port of Spain, and I was just crying walking out of there because I saying to myself, all hopes has just lost. The number would again it in registering, the address, the house is Bush. So I tell myself all is lost, and I'll be honest with you, from that day, I just give up. Yeah. Because I tell myself, I say, Daniel, if you continue trying to go down this road, trying to locate your mom, yeah, it goes start to affect you. It's just one more thing I did, right? I went to CNC3 newsroom down the road in town, and I went to them and begged them and pleaded with them. I said, sir, I want to do a interview or something with you all to try and find my parents. I did the interview with them in Woodford Square, and that was unsuccessful. Trying to plead with my mom to come forward because I want to know her then.
Right.
And that was unsuccessful, and I just say, Daniel, I give up. And from that day, I just left it as it is then. I said to myself, what's to be, go be, and if God wanted to be this way, go be this way, then it's a reason why He don't want me to meet my mom, is a reason for something, and I just swallow it, and I just say to myself, it is what it is, but I'm just living with this. This is one of my biggest burdens, not knowing my parents up to this day, as big man as I is.
If you're just joining us, you're listening to Dependency, and we are having a very emotional conversation with Daniel here, who is very open and honest with us, and with you, the listeners and viewers of Dependency this morning. We want to thank you. Remember, those of you on YouTube, we thank you very much. Please continue to like and subscribe to the channel. And those of you who joined late, remember, after the program, and see one of you asking, you could rewind and get that replay of the beginning of the story. And before we take your calls for Daniel, because you would have heard, Daniel, I real mash up this morning. I don't know if I'm hearing you, I'm hearing me in you in some instances, but I know how it feels to be rejected. That's not a nice feeling. And not by my parents. My parents were really good to me. My mother was a boss. Little miserable, but she was a boss. The thing is, trying to make my way back into society, the rejection. And I'm thinking, how bitter you could have been.
Of course, especially given the fact that none of what happened to him was his fault.
Exactly. That is what could have made him bitter. And think about the prison officer now who has to deal with 10 more like Daniel on a daily basis, because they bitter too.
Absolutely.
They
angry and bitter.
They're rotted because
Yes.
nobody care about them.
Correct.
So think about the prison officer who sometimes you just treat it like a drawer. You just open and throw old thing and just close it back as long as it could fit. I remember Wayne Chancey one time, he heard from Mr. Robinson, just put them inside him, and once the door could close, put them inside.
Yeah.
And so that is what, but what I want to say to the people out there who work in homes, and these homes for children that the state put under your care, you are criminals too if you are part of this.
Mm-hmm.
You are criminals.
Mm-hmm.
You're just driving nice car, you're dressing nice, but anytime you could go inside them tall walls and abuse people, you are a criminal. It's just that you're not caught yet. But you are a criminal, and most of you get away with it. You should hang your head in shame this morning if you're listening to this young man and know you are part of that criminal enterprise, because that is what it is. If you abuse an elderly person who's helpless because the state can't keep their only 24/7, but you're getting state funding. And if it is you can take advantage of helpless, hapless people, you are a well-dressed criminal. End of story. Let that sink in. You're a sick human being. Sick, twisted people. The guy, the driver, and I'm sure he's still alive, the driver who made Daniel jump through that window and run away from the home, you are a criminal working in a state institution. I hope you are listening this morning. You are a criminal.
Go on to the next home, man.
Of course. Because that's what they like.
Yeah,
I say, it's hunting in the zoo.
And there's my thing, right? A boy will commit a murder and all put him on the front
people.
page with his name and his address. And all will take out a picture, or they had him lie down on the ground with the pants underneath the Bamsi. But you know, we're not taking pictures of these people and putting them in the front of our Daily Express.
Correct.
Yes.
And we're not sending it viral on social media.
Yes.
So what we have
Yes.
done is that we have put crime in our brackets of
Mhm.
larceny, murders, kidnapping, and then we're not identifying that there are different sectors in our society that every day they leave home, kiss their wives and kiss their husbands and
To
kiss
do and
their
go
children,
criminal acts
and they
against-
are part of
Yes.
a criminal institution.
That's
Correct.
right.
Correct.
Yeah, you're a criminal. I don't care how you swing it, slice it. You could drive the prettiest car, the most expensive one. You are a criminal who has not been detected as yet.
Yep.
But karma is a real thing.
Daniel,
Shortman?
before we go to that video, some commenters on Facebook are suggesting that maybe you check with the EBC to see if your mother's name is
The
if
Electoral
she's in
Movies
fact
Commission.
is
Right.
registered, and they'll have an address, and maybe you could follow it up through
Daniel,
there.
you have
if
a
you
lot of
still
love.
want to find her, you
Yeah.
still want to find her.
You still want to find out? Or if she come forward, would you
That's
accept your mother?
If she come forward, I will accept her. But I'll be honest with you, me personally going out to look anymore.
Yeah, because you'll just end up more heartbroken.
Yeah, I feel I'm too old for that because I've been real, as I said before, I've been facing a lot, just not knowing my parents. And
Yeah.
by me going to make the effort to look for again, we just add to what
open a
already
Pandora
gave.
box.
That's yeah. I understand. We understand. But to the criminals out there, I hope you're listening to Daniel this morning. You are a criminal, and I'm hoping that this new Minister of Social Development and the others involved will really come at you all with swords blazing and put some of you all in Woodford Square so people can see. Because just last week, some police...
Any daycare, all this happened in the daycare last week?
Yes, we saw it. And then police hold some youngsters and put them up on Facebook.
Yeah,
You
on the
know?
ground lie down.
Yeah.
And then we have a video calling the name and where they live.
Yes, which not supposed to happen, but it happened.
You know what's running through my head right now? I feel like the communication sectors in our ministries need to actively work. Because look, Daniel is saying that he was charged with what you might call it?
Beyond control.
Beyond control. And I am telling you all, there are so many people sitting in this nation, didn't even had an idea that was a charge.
Yep.
That was a charge.
Yep.
Daniel, they make a lot of people cry this morning. You have people on Facebook and YouTube crying. And I cried along with them. And I want to thank you very much for building the courage. As Tamika said, when I saw you on that video, I said, nah, boy, this brother, he real and he's true. And I wasn't hearing no bitterness because now you're reaching out to the youngsters.
You're not hearing it in his voice.
Yeah, you reach out to youngsters now to not walk the road.
So imagine how many people go through Daniel's story but don't have the mental discipline that Daniel currently have, because it takes a discipline not to hate the world
Yes.
when the world show you that
Especially
I
when your mother
hate you.
abandoned.
Correct. correct.
Yeah.
It takes a different type of composure
Yeah.
not to hate the world and everything in the world. When from the minute of your birth into the world, all you knew was hate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
So, but let's go to video A. Daniel, it's just 1 minute, 37 seconds. We need to educate the folks again, the parents too as well. Listen to this, and then we come back and take your calls, and then we get some final thoughts from Daniel. Let's go to the video.
That you need to be careful, because a lot of times these people that sell marijuana, they don't even know that the fentanyl is in the marijuana. If you are a person that is selling marijuana, I'm sure you got a person that you're getting it from. You don't know what they're putting in that marijuana, and you sell it to somebody. They pass away at your hands because they found fentanyl in the marijuana. Guess what? You are going to prison. I just want to warn everybody to be careful out there. I know it's a lot of people that smoke. Y'all grown. Y'all do what y'all want to do. But I just want to warn y'all, be careful out here smoking marijuana. There used to be a time that you could smoke a little marijuana, have a little fun, but it's not like that no more. So y'all, please share the message. I don't want nobody to end up going to prison for some fentanyl and some marijuana that they didn't even know. So I'm just telling you, if you are a distributor, I'm not encouraging anybody to sell marijuana. I'm not encouraging anybody to use marijuana, but I'm encouraging you to stop if you don't want to end up in prison. If you are a smoker, I'm encouraging you to stop if you don't want to end up passing away. Y'all spread the message. Y'all be blessed.
So that was some important information, and even though it's a U.S. context, we know that in Trinidad and Tobago, persons who consume and sell marijuana do have additives in it.
Yeah.
And that right now is sending a lot of people to St. Anne's. So please be very careful if you are a user and or seller, because even though we don't do the testing that God is always talking about in terms of testing persons and for what substances they're on and what the marijuana they may be laced with. Just be careful.
Would you agree let's take some calls, right? 622-3937. Would you agree some of the young men running around here committing crime, snatching chain, petty crime, some of them on drugs and looking?
It's for drugs they just be doing it for most of the time.
Thank you very much. Jesus Lord, I'm seeing it for...
No, serious.
I need to leave here, you know. I serious.
It's how he pulling the hair that he don't have. That's the part. It's how he pulling the hair that he don't have.
Even when the... Let me take the call.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Jesus Christ.
Go ahead.
Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead. You live.
Morning.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead.
You're live.
Morning.
Yes, good morning.
All right, this person
You're breaking
has
up.
a bad connection.
Yeah, that's
Let's
probably
go
why
again.
not.
Go
Hello,
ahead.
good morning.
Hello.
Morning.
Hi, morning.
Yeah, is this identified?
Yes, you're live on the air.
I'm lucky to get through. I would just like to get Daniel's number, if possible, because the conversation will carry on too long. I'm really touched by what I heard this morning. And if you can give us a number that we can contact him after.
What about if you leave your number downstairs?
Well, actually, if you put me on, I will leave it, but I spoke to Andre, but he's still trying to get his number. So Andre will probably contact you all. But if you give me, put me on, and I will give them my number for Daniel to call me.
What's your name, sir?
My name, you will probably know, is Tansley Thompson.
Hey, Tansley.
Oh gosh, I didn't want to. I just wanted to talk to Daniel.
Yeah, no, but I'm happy as you. It's okay. It's okay.
It's a touching story, boy.
Yeah.
I have to talk to that guy.
Yeah, Tansley.
All right, you take care, and sometime I want to come. Maybe with Daniel himself, because there are things we have to do in this country. I am old now, but I have had great life in Trinidad and Tobago. And to hear that story, knowing that I was involved, the first race I ran was down in St. Michael's School. I played football up in Editad ground. I know the girl from Tobago, the singer, I had interaction with, so I have to talk to Daniel.
Yeah, right. Santi, do me a favor. Call 628. Oh, you have the number. Right. Okay, Santi, he'll contact you.
All right, thanks a lot.
Okay, then, God bless. You see why I asked? We've had vulnerable people like you on our program already. And we had sick people out there still calling and asking for the number, and after reach out to them and try all kind of nasty things.
To trigger me back.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, so that's why I was a little hesitant. Hello, good morning.
Morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Only one voice could get me to call the radio on a Sunday morning.
It's
one.
Tamika?
Oh, come on, man. Come on. Come on. Just listen to that voice. Listen to that voice. Only one voice could get me to call the radio, and I was having a dull day with all this rain.
Speak to Daniel for me, please.
Yes, Daniel is the subject of discussion here this morning, so cut out your...
Hey, Daniel, I don't hold on. That lady more important than Daniel right now. But anyway, you see, that's why it's important for us to educate our kids on the use. Yeah, I don't want to call it drugs. We just call it drugs, but we can't call it drugs because, to me, it's just a plant. It's when people change the chemical compound of the plant dies when it turns to something that that you shouldn't, not for human consumption. Then, all right, we have to continue to educate people and educate our kids about these things.
All right, sir. Thank
because
you
I
very
think
much.
if you do what you're supposed to do, we have a chance.
Yes. Okay.
We
Thank
have
you.
a chance.
And
right? We have a
again-
blessed day. Tamika.
Yeah, look, rocks don't have words.
Well,
I never see more. You. Hello. Good morning.
Morning, God.
Hi, morning.
Worthless.
Oh, God, another week again, you just have me in pain.
It's not deliberate, my dear.
I know.
Just creating awareness.
Okay.
All right, my dear. Take it easy. All right.
Hi, morning.
That's why we said at the top of
Hello,
the
good
triggering
morning.
for some.
Hello, good morning.
Hi, you want to lay your set down for us, please?
I'm not by your set, I'm outside.
Oh, but we hear the breeze. So go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, speaking to Daniel. Daniel, I wish you all the best. And this is to the parents. How could you go to bed and sleep at night and know you have a son or daughter out there and you're not following up on them? Oh, parents. Oh, my God. Daniel, I wish you all the best.
Thank you very much,
Okay?
ma'am. I will.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Line 2, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Morning.
Hi.
I just want to tell Daniel, give it one more try to see if he can locate his mother. Now that the registry, the birth registry is online and they're computerized, he should be able to go there and get some information. I am telling you, if I was still working there, I would have asked him to come in and I would go all out to try to assist.
I
It's
appreciate
sad,
it.
it's sad. It's really sad. But I no longer work there. I'm retired. But I still would make some information to find out. And I will get on to Natasha because I have Natasha on my WhatsApp and I'll tell her. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks much.
Thanks, good
Line
morning.
3, good morning. You want to lay your set down for us, please?
Oh, sorry about that.
That's all right.
I just want to ask the callers, whoever is listening, to use this. I don't know, Garth, I don't know if it is that I can get back these clips on YouTube.
Yes.
We have a responsibility to use these things as a tool. I challenge everybody this morning to find somebody to send this testimony for. His whatever he been through and all that he gone through is not for him alone. The mere fact that he is on the radio giving this testimony, and we can harness this testimony and use it as a tool to help others, because it's a powerful tool. It is real. And this tool needs to be continued to spread. I challenge people to go get it, send it to somebody, ask them to take some time out to listen. And it will help. and it will change somebody. So whatever you've been through, your suffering is not in vain to be helping somebody. And you have to continue, Daniel, to continue with the testimony by bringing changes. Continue rolling on as you continue to create this testimony to impact others. I am proud of your resilience, and the acknowledgement of God is always there. So you continue and best of luck. God, great work. Thank you very much.
Thanks much, boy.
Thank you.
Line 4, good morning. Line 1, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
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 Natasha, Mr. Mika, morning. You know, listening to the brother here this morning, remind me, you only grow up without a mother's love? Something that's not special. I went through something like that. So I didn't go to the YTC, but my mother was taken at a very young age, and it affected me profoundly. So much more for this young man. And he had the courage to come and tell his story. Bring a tears to my eye, remember. But what I want to encourage him and say, it have a reason that everything happened. Okay? Trust in God. Make positive move to yourself. Make yourself somebody. Continue to make yourself somebody. And whatever will be, amen.
Amen.
Those things back into that kid. Tell you something still. Share.
Ashe.
Those things back in that is full of. Anyway, enough said. Let me get somebody that.
Ashe.
Program. Natasha.
Ashe.
Tamika, Dr. and listen, Daniel, be encouraged.
Bless you.
And I just want to say, offer condolences to old soldier Ansel Spicer. He passed away. Condolences to his family. Ansel Spicer was a good one. And condolences to his family out there in Tobago. God bless you all. Hello, good morning. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Hello. This is a very familiar voice. You know, we always
God,
welcome it.
pleasant Sunday morning to you, despite the inclement weather. But I am in my kitchen. I have listened to this whole program. And God, I want to say that I am sure that there are many Daniels out there. I have listened to this child's story, and I'm like, how worse can it get? Look what he's been through, and he's still there, standing tall, and his story is a testimony to those out there, and I'm talking about the persons in a position of authority, guardian, parents, guardians. Look what this child has been through, still alive to tell the story. Daniel, God will tell you who I am. I want to speak with you. And I want you to continue to press on.
I will. That's my mission.
Yes. I am so proud of you. That resilience you have shown. I mean, I have listened and the tears was just rolling out of my eyes.
Yeah, you could imagine us in studio here, John. We had been
Darling, I want you to continue to press on. Put God first. Thank Him for where you are today. And I want to thank God and Natasha, Tamika as well, for having this child on the program, and Mr. Canterbury. I hope to reach out to him as well.
Yes.
Keep pressing on, Daniel. God loves you, and you will continue to soar. Okay?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Thank you, darling.
Thank you very much. You know, for the last, Natasha will tell you, for the last 9 years I have tried. You see what you just said there? For the last 10 years I have tried to get into our schools, and for some reason was denied. And I still can't wrap my mind around it again. And you just said it, as I was saying all the time, we need a squad. We need the forensics. We need the law. We need everybody to come together and start drug testing people to see what it is pushing in, because I am seeing me and a lot of people running around here snatching chain and doing all these things.
And don't forget, you also need mother and father to test children when they're home.
Thank you. And I've said it many times, and I've tried. Not that I didn't try, people. I tried to work for the Ministry of Education, to work with this NGO so we could go around to schools and do lecture. We were denied entry. I don't know why. Listening to Daniel here this morning, I don't want to give up, Daniel, but I too would like to work with you. And we will keep you on board. Somebody asked about part 2, because you talk about CCC and, you know, visiting the prison and all that. And it seems that had an effect on you when you did. Let's go back to the lines. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Morning.
Morning to everybody there. Daniel,
Yes, ma'am.
don't give up on your mommy. You don't know what she went through at that age and what she's going through. So still make a little last to the try.
But
You don't know what she...
But
Pardon
after all the calls, I feel I'll give it one more try.
Yes. You don't know what she's going through.
But get a professional, and when you talk to Miss Archie, I think that will help you too. Don't do it on your own this time.
Yes,
You know?
Yeah. Don't get, because you don't know what she, at that age, 19 years, and what is going on with
And
her.
what she still may be facing. In
Yes,
her
she will
life.
still have regret anytime a woman make a child. You don't give up that so,
Correct.
That. So please give her a little try again.
I will.
Okay, have a nice day. God bless.
All right, sis. Thank you very much.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello,
Hello.
morning.
Hello, good
Hi,
morning.
good morning.
Hello?
Yes, you're live on the air.
You need
Please
to
take
turn
off your radio.
please.
Is this 95?
You're live on the air, ma'am.
Right. So I'll have to turn on my radio, but I wanted to say something.
Off,
Yeah,
please.
take it off.
Off.
Take your time. Go ahead.
All right.
Go ahead.
Yes, go ahead.
All right, good morning. Yes, I'm listening fervently to that story with Daniel. And I've heard a few callers saying that he should try to look for his mother. But I need to say two things. Number one, when his mother gave him at the hospital, the most blessed, Daniel has been sent by God. The most blessed thing she did was to have given him the name Daniel. He really was in a lion's den. In a lion's den.
Mm-hmm.
And the second thing is, not that I'm saying, we don't know. Daniel has tried to locate his mother. And I've listened and I realize he can't find her. Leave it like that. God has been following Daniel right through. You don't know if his life might be even worse when he finds his mother. So I think, although Daniel said he's going to give it a third try, Daniel, if on the third attempt you can't find your mother, just pray for her. Because right now, God has followed you from birth. And sometimes God puts these obstacles not to find his mother. So it works both ways. So if you want, make an attempt. If you can't find her, you just go on following God.
She will find him eventually.
Daniel, that's the best gift she has given you.
Yeah. Well, once he start making news headlines and front page and all of that, she'll find him.
She'll find, let her find him.
Yes. Okay,
You
ma'am.
see, but that name Daniel, that's the best gift his mother could have given him
Yes.
in
Thank
the
you.
Lion's Den.
Thank you.
All the best.
All the best. Hello.
Line 3, good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Hi.
Morning.
You need to lower your radio. You need to lower your radio down.
Yes, it's on the
Please.
thing, on the TV, Terry. All right. I wanted to talk to the wider picture beyond Daniel about the child justice system. I need to say something.
This Senator Thompson, are you?
Oh, yes, it is. Yeah.
Thank you
Welcome,
for
ma'am.
calling, ma'am.
Go ahead.
Yes, Mr. Garth. Second time I see you crying, you come in my conference and you cry.
You see, now you
So
have
you-
to tell
you
them
are
that.
criers.
Yes,
Yes,
no,
he
I'm a
is- he is a
crier.
crier,
I got that
yes.
from my mom.
Like nothing.
Don't worry, I'm
We
a
still love
crier
you.
too,
I
don't
am a
worry.
criers. We still love
Yes.
you.
But I want to let you all know, because you mentioned something about beyond control. Yes?
Yes.
And I want to say this, although we've made a lot of strides in our child justice system, there are a number of things that need to be changed. The age of criminal responsibility in Trinidad and Tobago is still 7 years of age.
What?
What do you mean?
Sorry?
The age of responsibility
The
is
age
7.
of criminal responsibility is 7. 7 in Trinidad.
What?
We have not changed, yes. We have not enacted any change in the law.
What are you saying?
Now, this is something that I have battled with for a long time. We are the lowest in the Caribbean.
Wow.
Yes. So there are a number of things, but I want to say that next week, so it's a good thing perhaps that you all are talking now.
Yes.
Because there's a big conference, a world conference called the World Congress on Justice with Children. And that is being held in Madrid, in Spain. Now, it's going to be very expensive to go to Madrid, but what is wonderful is that the committee is allowing, the planning committee, people to actually participate online without any fee, which is very unusual.
Right, right.
So take a note of this, World Congress on Justice with Children, and go on the website. So you just Google that and you will see it's going to be about 2,000 people coming. And, there are so many workshops. There is so much about child justice. All over the world, people are coming from 100 countries so far.
Okay.
I was asked by a professor who is in charge of it to be a member of the organizer, a member of the scientific committee. It's been held at Comillas Pontifical University in Madrid. Now, if you can go, fine, but most people will not be able to attend, and I am asking that you Google it and you go online and you will be able to participate in the conference. You will learn so much about what is happening all around the world with child justice, what needs to happen. Things here need to be changed.
Agreed.
There is some resistance, and
but Senator, can you explain quickly before?
Time.
I just wanted her to explain exactly what the law was regarding beyond control and how it is that someone.
No, there have been cases where parents have brought the children to the court and say, I can't control that child. I remember some years ago, there was even a 5-year-old child. Everybody was talking, a 5-year-old child brought before the court. So we still have that. And although there are lots of programs and so, those laws should no longer be on the statute book. There was a big conference here in 2000 at what was then called Holiday Inn. A number of agencies came together. I was part of the planning committee. I wrote the report. We can get a copy of it. And a number of changes were proposed. In that time, we sat down at Holiday Inn, as it then was that night, and we didn't leave there until we formulated a number of resolutions which we sent to CARICOM. And some of the countries have changed the law. We have not done some of the things that we are supposed to do. So those things were sent to CARICOM so it could go all around the Caribbean so we could have changes in the child justice system. And one of the things, the age of criminal responsibility, we proposed that it changed to 12 years old. And I was so proud because we did it before the United Nations Child Rights Committee. It's years after they changed it. And a few years ago, they have upped it to 14 years.
Senator, I'll have to call you to finish this conversation because we have to go now. News
all right, yes.
Thank you so much for your contribution.
Yes, but please Google and go and participate in that conference. You're not going to get the opportunity. When we had it in Paris some years ago, you couldn't participate online. And when we had it in Geneva, we couldn't participate.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Right? So that is an opportunity for people to learn.
Okay, my dear.
And see what we can do to change the law.
Thank
all
you.
right.
Thank you.
Before we go, I want to give you all a joke. Mr. Pinal. Mr. Pinal.
Still around?
Mr. Pinal made me smile broadly Tuesday morning. Called Dale and Tony. Because I was wondering what happened to him. I haven't heard him on radio for a while. Mr. Pinal, it was nice to hear you. And I'm hoping that you will be a contributor to Iron Dependency to forget what you said and forget all the fallout. And my mother didn't grow me up like that. You see, enemies, I don't like that. And I like to hear you contribute. Sometimes you irritate me, but sometimes you make some good points. So, Mr. Pinal, I was so happy. Even Dale and Tony were shocked when they heard him. So, Mr. Pinal, welcome back and feel free to contribute. This is your program too. So reach out to your boy, all right? Holla at your boy. Daniel, we have to wrap up. Any closing comments?
All right, in closing, I'd like to say, first of all, thank you to you, Mr. Gat and Natasha, for having me on your show. And to the youths, before I go, I just want to urge you all and beg you all to please forget the life of crime, because prison is not a place for you all to be. You all have a lot ahead of you all. You all have a future. And what I have been through, I do himself want you all to think about it, because it was not a good experience, and it will not be a good experience. Stay out of prison and do the right thing. Bless.
All right.
Daniel, God bless you. Thank you, Trinidad and Tobago, for the love and support you showed down earlier this morning. Remember, if you joined late, you can go back on Facebook and YouTube and get the program from the beginning. Have a safe week. Be careful out there.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Major news up next with Mr. Bagram.